When I started this channel, it was originally focused primarily on beverages. As I found myself consuming less alcohol and consuming more cigars, I sort of moved the content over to that. However, today we are actually going to talk about a drink again. So this comes after I was wondering what would be the best pint for me to have with a cigar. So I've tried several. I do tend to like something a little stronger, rich, full of flavor. There's a few products out there that stand out to me, but I think the one that I've settled on is Innocent Gun. So I discovered Innocent Gun probably around 2003, which happens to be when the company was established. I had a friend who worked in a high-end kitchen, and this was the most popular beer there. And so I was then introduced to Innocent Gun. Now, as far as I know, there's 4 iterations. There's an Islay, a regular Scotch one, a rum iteration, and a tequila iteration. I've had all but the Islay one. And I will say that the tequila iteration is a good second to the original. So this is the original. It was aged in a single malt whiskey cask. There's a little blurb on the side. The original is single malt whiskey cask matured for smoothness and depth of flavor. Aromas of vanilla, malt, toffee, and a touch of oak with perfect understated bitterness. This is the original single malt cask beer. So that's there she is right there, Innocent Gun. And that is my my go-to pint for when I'm enjoying a cigar. I got her in my stein here. This bad boy has a little fisherman on the side. I like this stein because I can see the color of the beer through it. Now I will say this is a bit of a potent beverage. It is 6.6% alcohol, so I wouldn't recommend more than one. And I would probably consume it like after dinner with your cigar, maybe not on an empty stomach. I can tell you that it's amazing. It lives up to everything it says on the side. But the one thing that they're not mentioning, and it's clear to me, is the barrel that this was aged in was clearly a sherry barrel that had Scotch in it, because I am getting that sherry coming through stronger in the beer than I actually do in a whiskey that's aged in a sherry barrel. So this is pretty sweet. It's pretty heavy. And depending on who you are, one will give you a buzz. But this is the pint that I would recommend when enjoying a cigar, because cigars are loaded with bitter, smoky flavors. This is sweet, rich, malty. When I first poured it, it had a very creamy froth on top. It's not a cheap, wafery froth. It's a nice, rich, dense froth. So this is definitely the one that I recommend to enjoy with a cigar. So if you're sitting down with a cigar and you want to have a pint with it and you don't know what to do, I would say give it a try. Innocent Gun. I mean, any of them will work. This is just my favorite currently. There's a Russian Imperial Stout by a company called Wellington Brewery, which that's going to be tough to find because they're a microbrew in Ontario. That's another good one. But this is more readily available, I believe, kind of everywhere. Anyways, raise your glass to winning, even when you're losing. Keep it a hobby, not a habit. We can't all be Captain America, but you can sure try to be Steve Rogers. Cheers. Lots of vanilla in that. Lots.